And then Andy suddenly said he was going to stay on another 2 or 3 years. Well, I'd already cast my lot, I guess.
Good day. Ron Howard, the child star who played Opie Taylor on The Andy Griffith Show, recently revealed a shocking fact to fans of classic television. He and Don Knotts, who played the legendary Barney Fife, are actually distant cousins. And the story doesn't end there. What's the story behind this shocking fact? Let's find out. Ron Howard's revelation. The entertainment world was shaken when Ron Howard, the famous actor, director, who played the boy Opie Taylor on The Andy Griffith Show, suddenly revealed a never-before-known family secret. A secret that not only shocked fans, but also completely changed the way they viewed the close relationship between Howard and legendary comedian Don Knotts. In November 2021, Howard posted a nostalgic photo on his personal Instagram. The photo captured an intimate moment between him and Don Knotts, who played the legendary Deputy Sheriff Barney Fife on The Andy Griffith Show. However, what was shocking was not the photo, but the accompanying caption. "I just found out that Don Knotts and I are distant cousins," Ron Howard wrote. This information immediately exploded the comment section with thousands of surprised responses from fans. They couldn't believe that the two television icons, who had been on screen for years, were related in real life, something that had never been revealed or even suspected during their time together. According to Howard, the blood relationship was discovered through extensive genealogical research by family historians. Through a process of comparing birth records, genealogical documents, and 19th century records, they determined that Lucinda Knotts, Don Knotts' great-grandmother, was also Ron Howard's ancestor, thus confirming that the two were distant cousins. What's remarkable is that during the filming of The Andy Griffith Show from 1960 to 1968, neither knew about this connection. Howard, then just 5 years old, grew up on the set with Don Knotts, who played the clumsy but loyal sidekick of Sheriff Andy Taylor. Their on-screen relationship was once praised for its naturalness, chemistry, and emotional intensity. Now it seems to be explained by a deeper connection, not just as colleagues, but as family. In his Instagram post, Howard shared another touching memory, a photo from 1997, when Don Knotts visited him on the set of Ransom. By then, Howard had become one of Hollywood's most respected directors, while Knotts at 73 was still acting and entertaining audiences with his trademark humor. In the photo, the two are smiling broadly, unaware that they share more than just a professional past. It's a priceless moment, now made meaningful in light of the newfound truth. It all makes sense now. After the viral post, Howard continued to share in TV interviews that discovering this family connection helped him better understand the special feeling he had when he was with Don Knotts. "It explains a lot about why we always felt so comfortable around each other," Howard said. "There was an innate connection, a sense of closeness that I couldn't explain as a kid. Now I understand why." The revelation not only came as a pleasant surprise to fans, but also added a new layer of meaning to the already beautiful relationship between the two actors. It comes years after Don Knotts passed away in 2006, and the truth comes belatedly, but emotionally. Ron Howard, who witnessed many memorable moments with Don, has some insightful thoughts on Don's character and legacy. Would you like to explore these personal perspectives further? Ron Howard's reflections on Don Knotts. Throughout decades of Hollywood history, few relationships have been as genuine as the one between Ron Howard and Don Knotts. Their connection transcended the standard co-star dynamic, creating a bond that Howard continues to cherish long after Knotts' passing. The answer is an emphatic yes. Howard has frequently expressed not just admiration but genuine affection for his former co-star. In numerous interviews, Howard described Knotts as incredibly kind and patient with a child actor. Though 4 decades separated them in age, Knotts never treated young Howard as merely a child performer, but rather as a respected colleague. Moreover, Howard has mentioned that Knotts always made time to answer his questions about acting, even amid the hectic production schedule. Knotts became an unofficial mentor to Howard, teaching him invaluable lessons about comedic timing. "Don showed me how silence could be just as powerful as dialogue," Howard once noted in a television interview. Indeed, Howard credits Knotts with demonstrating how physical comedy required precision and restraint, qualities that influenced Howard's directorial approach years later. Notably, Howard has pointed out that watching Knotts prepare for scenes taught him the importance of thorough preparation combined with spontaneity. When Don Knotts passed away in February 2006, Howard's tribute revealed the depth of their connection. Don was a gentle, extraordinarily funny man, Howard stated shortly after Knotts' death. Though he created a character who was high-strung and nervous, Don himself possessed a remarkable calm wisdom. Howard attended Knotts' funeral alongside other Mayberry cast members, underscoring the lasting bonds formed during their television years. The discovery of their familial connection added another dimension to Howard's appreciation of their relationship. Finding out we were distant cousins made me reflect on our natural rapport, Howard mentioned after revealing their shared ancestry. Undoubtedly, this knowledge has given Howard a new perspective on their effortless on-screen chemistry and off-screen friendship. For Howard, this revelation explained what he had always felt, an inexplicable kinship with Knotts that extended beyond their professional collaboration. Ron Howard's surprising revelation about his blood relationship with Don Knotts has left fans stunned, but to understand this strange connection, we need to look back at Don Knotts' journey from his early years. Does his childhood reveal anything about his path to comedy, and even to the distant cousin he didn't know about? Early life and lesser-known background, before he became the nervous, anxious deputy sheriff Barney Fife, an unforgettable comedy icon on the small screen. Jesse Donald Knotts endured a challenging and unstable childhood that would shape his later acting style and unique sense of humor. Don Knotts was born on July 25, 1924 in Morgantown, West Virginia during one of America's most difficult times, the Great Depression. The youngest of four brothers, Don grew up in a modest home where poverty lurked in every kitchen corner and every small room. Don's father, William Jesse Knotts, was a schizophrenic and a heavy drinker, which filled Don's childhood with uncertainty and fear. According to some biographical accounts, Don's father threatened his own life as a child, leaving him in a constant state of anxiety and self-consciousness, emotions he brilliantly channeled into his acting. Don's mother, Elsie Luzetta, was the sole breadwinner in the family. She was the one who discovered her son's talent for entertainment and encouraged him to pursue his dreams. Despite a difficult life, Elsie provided a home where Don could dream, and it was that dream that propelled him from a small Appalachian town to the national spotlight. At age 13, amid the hardships of the times and his family, Don found his outlet through performing. He began learning ventriloquism, building his puppets, and performing at church services, fairs, and local events. Don attracted attention not only for his rare talent, but also for his versatile facial expressions, which would become his on-screen trademark. It was during this period that Don began to hone his signature comedy style, a combination of nervousness, quick reflexes, and facial expressions that were both endearing and grotesque. After graduating from high school, Don briefly attended West Virginia University before joining the United States Army during World War II. There, instead of becoming a combat soldier, he served in the Army Entertainment Unit, which organized vaudeville shows to boost morale among the troops, including the Stars and Stripes show. It was this experience that helped Don hone his stage presence and improvisational skills, bringing him closer to the world of professional entertainment. After returning from the war, Don completed a bachelor's degree in education at West Virginia University, a safe choice that his mother had wanted. However, the desire to act always burned within him. In the 1950s, Don's first opportunity came when he participated in the television series Search for Tomorrow. This small role helped him expand his network in the rapidly growing television industry. Don then gained national attention for his impressive performances on The Steve Allen Show, where he transformed into a nervous man, a clumsy, nervous character that bore many similarities to what he had experienced in real life. From here, the typical image of Don Knotts, a slim man, wide-eyed with a trembling voice, entered the hearts of American audiences. The Knotts family has a long history in the Appalachian Mountains, with generations living in West Virginia since then. One of the key women in Don's family tree is his grandmother, Lucinda Knotts, who would become an unexpected connection between Don and Ron Howard. Ironically, during their time working together on the Andy Griffith Show, Don never knew that his younger co-star Opie Taylor, played by Ron, was a distant relative. Don was very private about his personal life, and rarely spoke publicly about his family tree. Perhaps that's why he never knew that he and Ron Howard, who would later become a top Hollywood director, were connected by the same bloodline. Don Knotts' tumultuous childhood not only shaped his signature acting style, but also provided the mental baggage that helped him create one of the deepest and most enduring friendships in American television history. So what has bonded Don Knotts with Andy Griffith, not just on screen in the town of Mayberry, but also off for decades? Don Knotts and Andy Griffith, a close and long-lasting friendship that few people in the entertainment business had existed between Andy Griffith and Don Knotts before the appearance of the well-known inhabitants of Mayberry on the small screen existed between the two actors. Not only did this friendship provide the groundwork for the success of the Andy Griffith Show, but it also served as a demonstration of a unique connection that existed between two individuals who featured personalities that were quite different from one another, yet were perfectly complementary to one another. They had a chance encounter in the middle of the 1950s, while they were both performing in the well-known play No Time for Sergeants on Broadway in New York City. It was at this period that Andy Griffith was progressively establishing his place as the principal actor in the production. It was this part that established him as a rising star in the theater world. Don Knotts, on the other hand, played a very minor but still significant role in the play, which contributed to the production's signature comedic atmosphere. Apparently little event that occurred on the second day of practice signaled the beginning of a friendship that would continue for a very long time. Knotts was taken aback when Griffith was sitting on a fire hydrant and asked him a question that caught him off guard. "Are you Windy Whale?" Knotts had previously portrayed the role of Bobby Benson on the radio program Bobby Benson. Griffith was taken aback when he recognized Knotts' voice from the radio, despite the fact that the two had never met each other before. This instant of recognition was the catalyst that led to the establishment of the initial connection, paving the way for a long-term partnership and attachment. In the beginning, Andy Griffith had the idea that he would play the role of the primary comic, while Don Knotts would play the role of the friend who was more serious and honest. Despite this, Griffith immediately changed his mind after only the second episode of the play. He stated, "I knew that Don had to be the funny guy, and I had to be the straightforward guy." Because of this choice, not only were they able to flourish, but it also established a foundation for chemistry on stage and inside subsequent television programs. The following is a quote from Griffith that describes his stance. "Being the straight man is a beautiful position. In most of the sequences, I am positioned directly between the camera and my co-star, and I am the only person who is closer to Don's eyes than anybody else. No happiness can compare to it." Off-screen trust and respect were the foundations around which their on-screen chemistry was built. There were a total of 249 episodes of The Andy Griffith Show, and Don Knotts featured in. He was a part of the show for 5 full seasons, beginning in 1960 and ending in 19. After that, he decided to depart the program after signing a contract with Universal Studios that consisted of 5 movies. After 5 years, Knotts was under the impression that The Andy Griffith Show would come to an end. However, CBS was able to persuade Griffith to continue the show without Knotts. However, despite this, the relationship between the two continued to be robust and close for a considerable amount of time following the event. Griffith and Knotts were more than simply pals when they were not on camera together. According to a statement made by Andy Griffith, "I believe that I was closer to Don than anyone else. Over several years we collaborated on projects for more than 10 hours every day. Don was always the center of pleasure and laughter on set," according to Ron Howard, who portrayed Opie Taylor. Howard expressed his thoughts on the lively and busy atmosphere that existed on set. Not only did Knotts' presence encourage laughing among the crowd, but it also helped those who were in his immediate vicinity feel more at ease and connected to one another. Additionally, throughout this time period, Don Knotts' personal life went through a myriad of highs and lows. In 1947, he tied the knot with Catherine Metz, and the couple went on to have 2 children, a girl named Karen and a boy named Thomas. On the other hand, their marriage came to an end in 1964, in part because of Knotts' issues, which included depression and an excessive amount of labor. It was not possible for these challenges to disrupt the everlasting relationship that exists between Knotts and Griffith, nor did they have any impact on his lengthy and illustrious career. Considering the unique relationship that exists between Don Knotts and Andy Griffith, both on and off screen, have you ever pondered how other people saw Don's physical appearance and his ability?
Not only was Don Knotts a wonderful comic genius on film, but he was also a pleasant, modest, and respected colleague in the eyes of many those who worked with him. Despite his image as a worrying man on film, the stories and praises that he has received from his co-stars, directors, and crew members build a picture of a person who is kind and loving. Alongside Ron Howard and Andy Griffith, Betty Lynn, who portrayed Miss Butter on The Andy Griffith Show, was one of Don's closest collaborators. He also worked closely with Andy Griffith. In the past, she disclosed, Don was always able to make others around him feel at ease regardless of the situation. Despite the fact that he was in a stressful situation, Don never lost his smile and served as an inspiration to all of us. Throughout his life, he was a very modest individual, who was always willing to listen and take the time to assist budding performers. Also from other co-stars, such as Frances Bavier, who played Mrs. Taylor, Don Knotts was recalled as a fun source of energy on set. He was always happy to join in on light-hearted jokes and relieve any tension that may have been there. In the past, Frances recalled that there was a time when Don unexpectedly emerged with a humorous song that he had produced himself. This occurred while the entire team was exhausted from a tight shooting schedule. We were unable to contain our laughter, and as a result, everyone continued to work with a substantially higher level of excitement. The ability of Don Knotts to create jokes in real life that were on par with those he made on film earned him a long-standing reputation. The story of the time he tricked Andy Griffith in a scene with the intention of having Andy laugh for real, disrupting the shot, and compelling the director to reshoot it, was one of the most frequently repeated anecdotes. It was subsequently revealed by Andy that no one could make him laugh as much as Don could. Don was not just a delightfully hilarious person, but he was also extremely insightful and had a deep knowledge of the psychology of others. There was a moment when one of the young actresses was experiencing emotions of uneasiness prior to an important filming session. Don took the time to talk to her and encourage her, telling her about the times he had to overcome feelings of nervousness that were similar to her. It was one of the occasions that made his coworkers appreciate and respect him even more, and this tale became one of those incidents. Even when facing personal difficulties such as depression, Don Knotts maintained an optimistic spirit on set, always inspiring people to never give. Do you have any funny or touching stories about Don Knotts that you would like to share? What do you think makes Don Knotts such a beloved comedian and colleague? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more interesting updates. Thank you and see you in the next video.